welcome to another episode of Ren Talks. My name is the Lady Victoria, and today joining us we have Olivia Harding from Music the Gathering and Nicole Skelly of the Gwendolyn Show. Hello, ladies.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Well, this is exciting. It's just all home week. It's just the three of us.
Yes.
So we've been doing Ren Talks now for quite a while. It feels like it's been really good. We've had a number of fantastic guests, so I figured we'd take a minute and chat amongst ourselves and get caught up on what everybody's doing now that we're in 2021. So I know that we're all back at the fairs, but we've been receiving a bunch of questions about what we've been doing during the week recently from our listeners. So, Nicole, why don't you let us know what you've been up to when not at a Renaissance festival?
When not at a Renaissance festival, I mean, it's changed now. I think it's changed for all of us because when everything was shut down, we all added during the week or week round things that we're doing. And now that we're performing, now we're still doing them. And maybe in past years, we wouldn't have had those same projects. But I when everything was shut down, I started the Renaissance Stream Guide. It's a Facebook page that is a TV guide of Renaissance Festival participants who are doing live streams. So it's got everything from music to comedy, but it's not about people doing their regular shows or their regular characters. There's also belly dance classes and yoga classes. There's drawing lessons. There are podcasts listed on there. So that's on the Renaissance Stream Guide. There's a Google Calendar so everyone can go plan ahead, but every day there's a post on the Facebook page with the schedule of the streams for that day. And just click to go right to where that stream is at that time. I try to make it as user-friendly as I can. We had a whole bunch of streams. At one point, there were 75 streams every week happening on the guide. And it's all submitted to me by the people who are streaming. So whoever's streaming.
75 Ren Fair specific or Ren Fair adjacent streams, they're all performers or cast members at fairs. Is that what?
Performers, they're participants. So anyone who works at a Renaissance festival. So I kind of took the rescue model of anyone who works at a Renaissance festival can work with rescue or benefit from rescue. So with the stream guide, so I have there's a glass blowing demonstration. So they're not performers, but they demonstrate what they're doing. Or Louis from London Broil Show does a drawing class. So he's not doing his juggling show that he usually does at Renaissance festivals, but he's doing something else that he also does really well. So it's a way to see another side of your Renaissance Festival participant friends or people that you're fans of, and also to connect with them in a different way than you might if they're on stage being hilarious, as opposed to they're right in your own home on your computer screen. Not in a creepy way. Yeah.
And if we have people who have streams who are watching, who are part of the Ren Fair community, how can they get added?
Just send a message to the Renaissance Stream Guide Facebook page and let me know your date and time of your stream, what it is, title, and any if there's a blurb you've got or a picture. But if you don't have it, I'll just message you back and ask for it. But it really just has to be oh, I do a Renaissance festival. This is what I do.
All right, Olivia, what have you been doing during the week?
Oh, so many things. Like Nicole said, there's all these new projects that cropped up the last year. Now I'm learning how to play the hammer dulcimer thanks to someone.
I wonder who.
And also the jaw harp because I'm a lunatic. And also
I have one of those too.
We should learn together.
Oh my gosh.
Play it. Yeah.
Oh my God, yes.
I'm also working on a new music project based on film noirs and crime fiction called Gumshoe Noir. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram. But then most Ren Fair adjacent is still working with the digital Ren Fair. I've been making all the social posts for us. We've got some plans. We might be having trivia. By the time this airs, you'll know whether or not we had pub trivia. And also Pixelwick. We inherited Pixelwick, which I'm sure many of you have explored. And so we have a lot of fun plans in store within the world of Pixelwick.
How super. And Pixelwick is a digital platform for where a Ren Fair has been built on an existing platform called GatherTown. And Pixelwick is looks like an SNES 16-bit game if you're familiar with Final Fantasy VI or anything like that. It looks like that, only it's a Ren Fair and all of your friends are in it.
And you can go up to people and then suddenly their video and audio appears as if you're actually walking up to them, and you can go and interact with things. There are private spaces, which is why I'm excited about trivia, because you can like join up in teams with random people and then go off into a little private corner and discuss possible answers to trivia. So there's lots of like fun functionality to work with in the future.
And me, I have been in between Ren fairs during the week. I have been doing a whole lot of live streaming. I live stream every Monday at 6 p.m. and the live stream really kept me going a lot of last year. That is honestly what kept me bringing out my instrument, keeping it tuned. It's what kept me getting dressed up and remembering how to do my makeup. And it's just been a fantastic thing. And the group that we've maintained and get together just to share music and chats on Monday is just so much fun. Snack Guild represent. So there's been a really interesting to see how the different communities of Ren Fair fans, even though they're from completely different fairs, they would have never met each other physically, are all kind of coming together, meshing up, finding people that they link up with, jive with and everything in the comment sections of other performers' videos, right? Like I know that the Gwendolyn performs quite a bit online as well. Nicole performs online quite a bit. And our fan base is crisscross quite a lot. And then there's some that are only in your chats and some that are only in mine. And it's just really interesting to hear them talk about other people's streams and when they're popping, see Brian Howard and things.
Yeah, they talk about your stream and mine, or then sometimes I'll see Victoria show up in my stream and I'm like, the lady Victoria's there, and I flip out and everyone's like, she's awesome. Then they start talking to her and not watching my stream anymore, but it's totally cool. And to that end too, I started a Gwendolyn Discord server as well, because I noticed that so many, like they would come and talk about the stream they were watching, but I was like, why not give them a place to come and just talk as a group? And so like, that's actually been really cool to create that online community that in the future they can be like, wait, your home fair is this fair? I'm going to come visit it. Can we meet up? And then they can meet in real life, and then they can be friends on Facebook, and that's how you know it's real.
And that's what's really cool is that Ren fairs are normally not high tech, right? Like before last year, there wasn't a whole lot of Ren fair content online in different aspects. And you making a Discord, for those of you not familiar with Discord is like a forum structure, like a chat structure where you can have individual chat spaces to talk about certain things. And it's fairly popular for Twitch streamers, for YouTube creators, and in a slightly younger demographic than we might be used to. But Nicole jumping into that scene and creating one, like your Discord is hopping. Like there's a lot. It's very similar to like a Facebook group kind of thing if you really have no frame of reference. So like a Facebook group, but it's
Facebook group / Reddit.
Yes, yeah, / Reddit kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
that's another thing is that the Digital Ren Fair created a Facebook group for the Patreon members, and you can join Patreon for the lowest tier is $2 per month, and then that gets you access to this group where we're just going to be talking about fun stuff, like anything having to do with Ren Fair stuff, anything having to do with DRF. So similar to Discord, but just using the older Facebook platform,
which is still viable. It's still great. Still good.
Still good.
Still hip with it. Speaking of,
I think you saying still hip with it makes it worse hip. You can't say that. You can't say that you're still hip with it.
And be hip with it? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, you just know internally that you're hip with it. But if you say it out loud, that it changes it.
What was it that Victoria said right before the camera started rolling that you're like, I haven't heard that in a few years?
Biff it.
Oh.
That was because when I was on cast at Sterling, it was like a big thing. And I haven't been on cast in Sterling in a number of years. So I was like, oh yeah. It brought back happy memories.
I also wouldn't be surprised if the Lady Victoria were a time traveler who keeps forgetting what slang is relevant to what era. I would not be surprised if you told me that.
That's meta.
Not wrong. Speaking of new platforms, TikTok is happening in the Ren Fair scene. Like as we speak, the Ren Fair TikTok is just starting to spin. There are some incredible creators over there. There's a gentleman called Ren Fairy that I think most of us follow. There's Ripley, who is a sword painter, who's on there and fairly popular. There's a bunch of Rennies who do different kind of contents. Katie Osoris is a Ren Fair actress, and she does all sorts of interesting content with that. That's like Ren Fair and then Ren Fair adjacent, and then just other stuff, right? And both she and Ripley have been covered in Vice articles, right? Like they are getting like actually like pulled up from their TikTok fame into mainstream media. Is that how that works? Anyway, but yeah. And I personally have been enjoying the heck out of TikTok. Like I really like it a lot.
I was gonna say, didn't somebody at the time of us filming this just hit something like 65,000 followers?
Yeah, no, I'm very, very pleased with that. And honestly, doing TikTok and getting the responses that I've gotten from that,
TikTok is such an interesting platform because I can't figure out what does well. Like the thing that I'm like, I just created this because it's easy and I should post something today, are the things that do really well. Like this morning I woke up and I was like, hey, because last night I posted, all it was screenshots of playlists that Music the Gatherings music has been added to on Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing to it. It was just music. It was the amazing Ukrainian Eurovision song.
Yeah. I love it.
And then a bunch of screenshots of Spotify playlists. And it went crazy. I was like,
no way.
What? And then the other one that went crazy was very similar. Again, no video involved. It was just pictures of me and my bandmates making the most hideous faces with and it went along to this guy's sound of him pronouncing like Central Missouri accent words. And I had gotten it from Lake Street Dive. And again, that was the thing that went nuts. And I'm like, these aren't even videos.
I thought you were a video platform.
Right? I was lied to.
I have a TikTok too, you guys.
Yeah, Nicole?
Yeah, I have one follower. I've never.
Me.
It's not you. It's not. I know who it is. It's Brian. You can follow. It's Gwen. I don't even know. It's the Gwendolyn Show. I forget. There's nothing on it. Maybe there will be by the time this airs, but there's nothing on it right now. But I was like, oh, Victoria does the TikTok, and all the kids are doing it. I'll do it too. And then I signed up and then I left it.
Good. It's going to be great. When you get going, when we're in Colorado, we're going to have some TikTok workshops. And it'll be good.
My brain is so full.
I know. Don't worry about it. Nothing happened. It's okay. It's okay, Nicole. Everything's okay. So live streaming on TikTok is one of the wildest experiences. I busk, right? Like I perform on the street in the real world as well as in the Ren Fair world. And you found her. The Gwendolyn Show.
Is that you?
At the Gwendolyn Show.
Yeah, probably. There's no picture. I couldn't figure out how to do it.
I'm already a follofollower. It's perfect.
Are you? Wait, really? Do I? How many followers do I have?
6 whole followers.
What?
Yeah.
I'm famous.
And I'll tell you who it is.
Victoria, I'm catching up to you.
I know.
Catching up.
I'm in trouble. I gotta pump it up. Right. Yeah.
Who are they?
I don't know who they are, but you might know who they are. They are
probably David Moon.
We have Ocean Child, Books and Barbells, who's Amelia, Kalina, Angela Vergara, us, and Brian Holm.
Yeah. Okay. Brian Holm was the first one. He was like, I'm gonna follow you. He's awesome.
Anyway, so busking on TikTok is one of the craziest things. Going live on TikTok is one of the craziest things because it feels the closest to busking in real life. So in busking, people come up, maybe they'll sit in front of me or stand in front of me for like 30 seconds to like maybe 2 minutes max, right? Like that's it, like playing hammer dulcimer, that's all that they're there for. And with TikTok, it's a very similar thing. I'm constantly seeing new people coming into the feed, constantly seeing new names. And so it's very different from Facebook. Normally on Facebook, I get my audience and then we chill for the whole hour and that's it. With TikTok, it's a very, like some people will stay for the whole hour or two, however long I'm there, but a lot of them are just coming in. And I can tell that because they keep asking the same questions, right? And so that's what I do when I busk is it's always, what is it? It's a hammer dulcimer. How long have you been playing? About 9 years, 6 years professionally, right? Like how many strings does it have? Oh, I thought you were just hitting a table with some chopsticks, right? It's like, it's great. But it's constantly that kind of thing. And that's so fun because that's what I am made to do. I'm made to reply to the same questions over and over again.
That's how you've been programmed?
Yes, yeah, that is my programming. That is why when we go off script, there's a test pattern, and then and then a jump in the camera.
Why do you think people pop in and out more on TikTok than they do on Facebook?
Because it's a short form. It's natively a short form app, right? Like natively, they have a low attention span for it. If they're on there and they're just scrolling, they're all the videos. The normal TikTok videos are between 2 seconds and 3 minutes now is their max, but it was up to only a minute for a period of time. So these videos are just scrolling past them, and then all of a sudden they're on a live, and they're still kind of in that pattern, that mental pattern. So maybe if they stick around for a minute or two, that's a considerable amount of time in the TikTok sphere, and then they can scroll on. But there isn't native, like they can tip me, like actual dollars through it. So that's pretty cool. I like that, as you might be able to tell. But it's also made my Spotify go a lot more, right? Like Ren Fair music on the Spotify is happening now. I have never in my life, I'm a Celtic music performer, right? I specialize in traditional Celtic music, and people are requesting Gaelic songs in Gaelic. They're requesting songs with Gaelic names with the appropriate and or not appropriate accents on the letters.
That's pretty cool.
It's incredible. It gives me so much hope for the future, right? It's like the kids are all right. The kids are all right. Like they're asking, I can't say it, maybe Olivia can, like the Tara Beth Aboon, the Celtic woman songs. Do you know what I'm talking about? And then Tiernan Og is another one. And when I first, you've heard it, when I first like started hearing these, like seeing these requests, I was like, how do y'all know how? No, because it was a bunch of them, right? And it's like not like I wasn't in a niche or anything, and these folks are just loving this music, and I'll play it. I just got done performing at Georgia, and I was playing all this music out there with them, and they recognize traditional Celtic music, and I cannot tell you how excited that makes me as a performer of and a keeper of this old music, right? Like my goal is to keep the music alive. That's why I play the dulcimer. That's why I do the things that I do. That's why I perform in front of people, is to try and keep some of it, right? Not all of it. We're not, but like keep any of it out there. And it's happening. And TikTok is making it happen. And it's great. So
that's awesome.
Side effects we didn't expect from, I don't know, a crazy app about dancing. So.
Oh yeah, I can floss.
Oh my
God. That's a TikTok thing, right?
I have to floss every night because I wear a night guard. Was it not that kind of that was not Olivia. That was Liv the Druid who just came out.
Right?
Funny how they invade our real lives.
They really do.
Gwendolyn, get back in your hole.
Oh no. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so people are still engaging with stuff online, and we're now all performing, right? All three of us have been performing at Renaissance festivals. I've been performing since November, right? So that's been interesting. Yep. Same for Olivia. Nicole just came back onto the scene.
April.
Ooh, thank you. Yeah. So we've been performing at festivals, right? So we've been doing different fairs. I just got back. I just finished Georgia. I'm on my way to Colorado. Very exciting. Olivia, where did you pop in and out of here?
Well, you and I had almost the same schedule. We were together basically November and January, and then I went to Oklahoma at the very end of April, and now I'm also about to go to Colorado.
And Nicole?
I was in Scarborough. So I started performing back for the first time in April after having everything off, or having everything canceled. So Scarborough, April, and May. And in a couple weeks, I'll head to Maine and then Colorado.
That's a pretty exciting.
Never been there. Well, I've been there, but I've never performed there. So.
Oh, right. Yeah. I think I met you there one time when you were coming through to visit a while ago.
Yeah, it's been a couple years.
Right. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So that's where we're all heading through. And so the fairs that opened, like things changed, right? Things were different when we first started getting into fairs. Olivia and my experiences performing in November were specific, and I think we've spoken about those a bit before. But this coming back in February, March for Brevard, it was, we were on the ground, we were on the ground. Cast members were on like little stanchion platforms instead of walking around in the street. Stage performers were on stage. Volunteers were mostly in the audience. There was not a whole lot of interactive shows that were able to happen. There were a few shows and performers that just had to kind of remain at home still because their shows just would not operate.
Or there were people that adapted really well in terms of how they interacted with people in the audience, which I thought was awesome.
Absolutely. I've seen the Washing Lunch show. They did some really creative stuff with, they have a whole bit with flour that they normally hold in their teeth, and then the other person like bites it out of their teeth, right? And so now they do that with like a claw on a stick or something. Anyway, it's a whole thing. One of the mud shows, poor things, they normally have a volunteer, and I think that they used I've seen a blow up doll in there.
Amazing.
As a replacement for that particular thing. So like maybe it added something to the show, maybe it subtracted, it's a show. It's a good show. So there was a lot of creativity and a lot of movement and that kind of thing. And honestly, the biggest thing that I've taken out of it is that patrons have been so willing to roll with what we need them to do and make things happen, and have been aware of what happened and have been so supportive. A lot of my patrons have been so supportive. They've come, they've listened, they've bought all of my CDs. I had a CD release in 2020 right after the Flarf closed down, and they've just been very supportive of my music, very supportive of my arts, and that's been an incredible thing to get to see and to meet in person.
Mm-hmm. I do want to say a big thank you to everyone who has been very understanding, has been very supportive, has been very willing to adjust, because it's not everyone. And I would actually argue, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, that as things have gotten better pandemic-wise, things with audiences have gotten worse. So I want to thank everyone who, like, in comments, in forums, on Facebook and everything like that, has said to people, make sure you wear your masks if a vendor asks you to wear a mask coming into your booth. Make sure to bring your masks to a festival. Please don't bring politics into this. Like, listen to the rules, because almost every single one of these festivals is a private business and they can ask you to do whatever they want. And I did have a few moments where it was incredibly, incredibly disheartening to ask people to put masks on and see not a single person, to see every single person ignore me. And so the people who did, who listened each time, who urged their fellow patrons to do the same, I just want to give a huge thank you to you, because you were the ones who kept my faith in humanity, to be perfectly honest.
And the impact that this has had on our industry as a whole and us individually it's
significant.
Yeah. And to just sweep that under the rug, as much as, I just started 2 weeks ago performing without my mask on. Like, that's the first time that I had done that, because the festival had released the guidelines and the government had released it. And so it's like, okay, I guess now's the time for that. And it was a big change mentally for me to have to be okay like that. I still had it with me, and I would put it on if people came up to look at the instrument and things like that. But it was a very all right, we're going to move forward. I'm fully vaccinated. I know that most of the body of people around me are as well. So we're just going to see what we can do. Yeah, it's hard to busk with a mask on, right? And as performers, so that's a classic thing, right? There was a group that came on the circuit and was doing Bremen Town musicians, right? So they had animal masks. This is 4 years ago, right? They had animal masks, and it's the note from the director was wow, you guys are really brave, because it's very hard to connect to audience members in a mask, right? Audience members want to connect to performers, and it's very hard to do when they can't see your whole face, right? You innately have weirdnesses when you can't see somebody's whole face, which we've all really gotten to know intimately this last year. And so as a performer, getting to really work your eyebrow muscles and coming to really, understand how to do that and make it still engaging as possible, whilst y'all know that I am known for my ridiculous faces.
You you had a leg up on everyone.
It did. But it also, really nerfed some of my street bits, right? Because that's what I'll be working people way down with, just making silly faces at them the whole way. And then they'll come up and talk to me, and it's great.
it was really hard for me at Scarborough because we did have, even though guidelines in the country kind of changed partway through the Scarborough run, we still had the guidelines as performers that if you were not on stage doing your show, you had your mask on all the time. And I do so much street and it's like one-on-one, very intimate, like the giving advice and can be a very intimate interaction. And I just was like, with this, I'm not mad I have to wear it, but I can't have that communication. I can do it with my eyes, but it didn't feel the same. And then if they have the mask on too, it was just, so I did not do it as much as I usually do. So I was like, people weren't getting super close to performers and stuff either. So
yeah. I wanted to almost wear a sign because I felt like a hypocrite in that because we do 3-part harmonies, we had to take our masks off on the stage. We always made sure to, anytime we arrived at a stage, move the seats twice as far back as however they were lined up to begin with. But it was a tricky balance between not wanting to mention the pandemic. These people were coming here for a break. And if everyone's already wearing masks and behaving themselves, what's the purpose of mentioning it? But then also wanting to say something about the fact that, like, yes, we have our masks off, but we are getting tested every week and basically not interacting with anyone for 5 days just so that we can keep you guys safe. But you don't want to announce that at the start of every show because then it takes the mood in a weird place. So you have to find weird ways to say it, like, oh, the wizards have stuck their sticks up our noses and told us that we do not have the plague. Or we were in a cave. And so we were like, everyone please wear your masks because there are face-eating monsters in the cave and it's bad. Also, Asia hasn't bathed for 4 years, so please protect your noses. Silly stuff like that to try and keep the fantasy, but also be like, we promise we are trying to keep you safe.
So friends, we've received some questions from our lovely fans and listeners. We're gonna go through and ask and answer them. This will be a kind of a quick round question and answer about our Ren Fair experiences. Alrighty, of all the fairs that you've visited, what fair was with the very best bathrooms? What fair had the very best bathrooms?
I would say the Oklahoma Renaissance Festival. I will walk 5 minutes from my stage to the castle where there are air-conditioned, extremely clean, big bathrooms, and I love it.
Ooh, I didn't know about that when I was in Oklahoma. I'm going to say the Maryland Festival, but it's a caveat because Maryland Festival doesn't have permanent bathrooms. It only has porta potties, but there are porta potties backstage where I don't have to go do anything near patrons. And I like that.
Very, very nice.
Because nothing takes you out of a Renaissance Festival more than seeing the king come out of a porta potty.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And mine would be Ohio, the Ohio Ren Fair sub TRF. TRF has really big bathrooms and a lot of them.
Oh yeah, TRF has good bathrooms.
Yeah.
All right. True. Next question we got. Where do you stay during fair? On-site, hotel, crash, campground?
Yes. All of those for me. I stay in different places for every festival, pretty much. And I don't have a trailer or an RV that I take with me, so it's different.
I'm often in a house or an Airbnb during the week, and then I will stay in my van on site during the weekends.
And I do the Airbnb thing. For example, Colorado, I'm going to be in an Airbnb with Victoria, 2 members of the Crack, a Bubble Fairy, and a Rosie. And it's going to be a good time. I should mention that it's a weird thing that of the 3 of us, there isn't anybody in an RV because it's very standard to have an RV. So we are an odd collection.
Yeah, we're not a statistical, we're a statistical anomaly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, next question. Do you get paid if it's a rain day cancellation?
Ooh. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. It is fair specific and based off of contracts. Sometimes it'll be written in if the fair makes it through half of the day or something, you'll get a certain amount of the pay, or 3/4 and you get all of it. Really depends.
Yeah. Exactly. Yes. I think the only time I've ever been paid for rain days is where they have a percentage system where it's if we cancel by 2 p.m., you get this much money. If we cancel by 12 p.m., you get this much money, that kind of stuff.
And there aren't a ton of situations where a rain day will cause a cancellation. The majority of fairs are rain or shine, period, the end.
That's absolutely correct. Somebody else asked, what is the best part? So that's a bit of a wide question, but I'm going to go ahead and say the camaraderie, right? Like the community of folks that get together and come out to the fair, as well as the on the backside, the performers and everybody that gets to come together and travel around and do different fairs.
Mm-hmm. I would say from an insider perspective, it's one of the few places where you can create your own show, like without having any sort of producers have a say in it. I mean, obviously to an extent, and do what you love, produce your art while still making a living and being able to work for most of the year. It's very rare as an artist, as a musician, as a performer to find something like that.
And I say it's the laughing.
That's so sweet.
Absolutely.
Notice none of us said it's the food.
Yeah, none of us said the food.
For me, it's the queso you find at the local Mexican restaurant in every festival.
Yeah, chorizo con queso.
Yum.
Liquid cheese for my mouth hole.
Mm-hmm. And then we have, how do you reach out to engage the audience?
So this seems like an open-ended question. So at festivals, when it's non-pandemic time, I like to go break that fourth wall immediately and go straight out into my audience, hopefully before I actually start the show, to become a real person for them, not just a cartoon on the stage. And then online, it's live streams and posts on Facebook and the Discord that we mentioned earlier, and any kind of way to interact with the patrons or fans, not just be that entity behind a screen.
Big. Most of y'all might not know this, but I'm fairly shy and I don't interact the best. I love performing and I love being in front of people and I love making it happen, but I have a really hard time doing it on the backside. So I've really enjoyed getting to do the live streaming thing because it's given me a chance to be someplace that I feel comfortable, behind my instrument, where people are talking and they're hanging out and we're all getting to know each other, and I can kind of relax and get to hang out and visit and stuff and still feel comfortable to do that. Does that make sense? Yeah, that's what I got.
And I'm not shy, but I also hate hawking. I think we made a joke in a past episode that all of Music Gathering, if you asked us to hawk, we'll get out there and go, come see our show if you want, or like you could not, if there's a great show over there, if you want to go over there instead. So our version of hawking is, we've noticed that the best thing to do is just start playing, because luckily we're a music act, so people will just come over if they like the style of music we're playing. We are Music the Gathering. We like to gather all the musicians, which means that we also show up on other people's stages with permission a lot of the time. So that's also how we sort of ensnare people, is that we'll just show up everywhere. And then finally they'll be like, who are these weirdos and why are they constantly annoying other bands? And while we don't have sort of online content like the Gwendolyn Show and the Lady Victoria, Asia runs our social media platform very well. And she's also all over other people's platforms in the same way we're all over other people's stages.
I'm going to start a myth about Music the Gathering and be like, what do you mean other people that show up at other groups' shows? Who? What are you talking about? They were never dead for 25 years.
We would love that.
Oh,
I'm going to do that. Colorado.
Yes.
Next question.
Well, actually, no, it's funny you should say that quickly, is that because we started this rumor, we pretended to start a rumor in Oklahoma. We were like, oh my God, Music Gathering, those guys, we heard that like their dads own the fair and they were just like grandfathered in here and like they'd know nothing about music. And we're like, yeah, we started that rumor, guys. That was us.
Oh my gosh. Okay, and that's funny for our people who don't know them, is that these folks are triple threats out of New York City who can sing, dance, do comedy theater, and like 17 other things that I don't know about. So there you go. Anyway, right? Carry on.
Yeah, they're geniuses. Next question. From close on Sunday to open on Saturday, are you able to keep busy or do you get super bored by Tuesday? I yeah. Drink my water.
We are all super active individuals, and I don't think we could be bored if you paid us, to be perfectly honest. I know that some folks just get to get to show up on the weekends and throw down, and that's fabulous. That's great. But I am a solo performer, so I have to make sure that everything's ready. And I don't like to say no to projects, which is a problem. But there's a bunch of things going on. We've got this podcast. We've got stuff going on with Digital Ren Fair. I've got my own line of hammer dulcimers. I've got to get ready for the weekend, and at least 7 albums. We've got albums to make, right? So it's like there's a lot going on, friends, and I love it. I love all of it, right?
Yeah. And we talked about the stuff that we've been doing recently during the week since the pandemic, but then there's all like the normal stuff because it is a business. It's booking travel. It's booking where you're going to stay. It's making sure that you still know how to play your instrument. It's learning new songs. It's writing new songs. It's before the pandemic, I had a full-time job as well, and it was a lot. And so very few of us are just doing nothing on the week.
Yeah, same what they both said. Live streaming during the week, Stream Guide, Digital Ren Fair. I work with Cirque du Nuit with a online game they have called Thicket, which is amazing. Occasionally some rehearsals for that. And then plus all of the business and backstage and admin stuff you would have to do for any business for my show. Cause like Victoria, I'm a solo show. So it's the costuming and the promotion and the writing shows and the marketing and the merch and the emails and the Facebooks and the Discords and the TikToks and
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's entrepreneurs. That's what we're doing. Sole proprietors, sort of ish, and a lovely partnership up there. It takes all kinds. We're getting it all done. Anyway,
we do everything.
We do everything, and we love it, and it's great. Sort of sometimes.
Sometimes we get to sleep.
Ooh, I haven't done that in a week.
That's nice.
All right. Somebody else asked, and we've just answered this kind of, but full-time gig or side hustle. So this is all of our full-time gig, but that doesn't mean we don't have side hustles.
And also it doesn't mean that like anyone who chooses full-time gig versus side hustle, it doesn't mean that they are any less of a Rennie or any less of a performer. It's just completely what works for their lifestyle. And we started talking about this recently because the Digital Ren Fair for the whole past year very specifically said, we are going to try to support people who this is their full-time gig. And that wasn't like a weird status thing where we think that people who did it full-time are the real performers or anything like that. It was solely that we had to draw a line somewhere, and it was financial, because we are assuming that people who do it as their side hustle do have a way of like making a living another way. But there are so many incredibly talented performers who just do this as their side hustle, maybe do one festival per year.
Right. Yeah.
Full-time gig.
Excellent. Great. Really, Nicole?
Sorry, I forgot. It's my turn to answer a thing.
So this is fun. What is a piece of advice you would give yourself on your first weekend performing at fair?
Drink water, and then drink more water, and don't be afraid to talk to people. Almost every day of every first festival I do, I have a little bit of a hump where I go out and I'm like, I have to talk to people and I don't want to. But after you talk to the first random person, the first patron you don't know, then that fear is gone. So you got to break the seal of that. Do it sooner rather than later.
Wake up a little bit earlier than you thought you needed to, because you've got more to put together than you remembered that you did not do.
That should be on a shirt.
Yeah. My piece of advice is very specific to people who have my exact brand of imposter syndrome, which is that if you don't get every chord right, don't let it ruin your entire day. I would, for the first year of our band, I would be so disappointed in myself and think that I let the entire band down if I got something wrong, especially because I was completely new to the accordion. I'd been playing the accordion for 3 months when we first started Music the Gathering, and I would just be so miserable. And now I'm like, oh, someone just asked me to improv in front of everyone. Not a single note was in the right key. I'll get it right next time. Oh, well. And that's way healthier.
That is awesome.
That is fantastic. I'm so glad to hear that.
Awesome. How far do you travel? Do you have a home base?
Home base kind of down in Florida, but I'm really only there in December now. I'm fully booked, right? And I kind of bop in and out of Florida in January, February, March, and then that's it. that's it. So I'm lucky because it's nice weather down there in December.
I have an apartment in Brooklyn, for better or for worse, which I spend maybe 4 months of the year in. And my roommates are wondering when they can convert my room into a music studio.
I mean, you'd still live in that anyway, right? Like, that would be great, but
it's your natural
sleep
habitat.
for bed.
As long as there was like a little sleeping pallet and I could keep my stuff there, I'd be cool with that. They could make it a music studio.
Speaking of stuff, my stuff lives in upstate New York, but I am not there very often.
Do you have an off season? So this kind of ties in. If so, how do you spend that time?
So I have maybe November, December off. And I don't know how that I spend that time anymore, because I used to, like, that was when I would go into the office for my full-time job, but now we'll find out. Or there's like the month of March or something like that. And usually I'll try and visit family or try and visit friends during those times.
Stay tuned to find out what Liv's off season is like.
Ooh, maybe she'll go overseas.
Maybe she'll stay in her room and read.
Which one will it be?
Place your bets now.
Maybe both.
Ideally, no, see, you'll go overseas and stay in your room and read.
I mean, that's what your options are going overseas now with the quarantine restrictions. You go overseas, then sit in your room and read.
Gotcha. Fair. Perfect.
Yeah,
good to go.
That's true. I do not consider myself to have an off season because I try to keep my social media and all those online activities going to keep the chatter about the Gwendolyn Show going when I'm not performing. And not only because I feel like that's a good business practice to do, but also because if I don't, I feel like I'm doing a bad job.
My off season is, as I said, December, and I have a little, that's it. I go home and I build fences and wrangle cows. It's not. I dig holes.
Cows have best friends, you guys. Cows make best friends with other cows. Yeah, I read that on the internet.
Oh, I love that.
Cow friends.
I made best friends with a frog yesterday.
Congratulations.
Thank you. All right. What surprised you about going on the road?
I don't know if I have an answer for that. Because my going on the road was more gradual and on and off. When the opportunity came up, there was no like, should I or shouldn't I? What am I doing if I do this? It was just like, oh yeah, clearly this is what I'm going to do. So I didn't think as far as to have expectations, I don't think. I just was like, yeah, obviously. That's my choice. I'm taking it.
Yeah, mine was how lonely it is. Again, being a solo performer, like it's just me. And then if I'm at a fair where I really don't know anybody and it's just like, well, I'm here to work. And then you do have a lot of time off, right? There is time during the week off if you're not like really pushing a project. You don't have like obligations. You're self-motivated. And if you're not as motivated as you might want yourself to be, then all of a sudden you're just staring down the video games. Let's be real here. Let's be honest about that. But yeah, so that's a surprising part for me.
Hells yeah to the loneliness. There isn't the sort of like magic, anyone who's done like high school theater or even college theater, and that sort of magic of like, wow, a show's done, but we're all really amped and anything can happen between now and the next show. And like that feeling, it's not really there, at least not in my experience. It's more like, wow, I'm exhausted. It's Sunday. I'm going to go to bed. Maybe I'll go out with a couple other people, just grab some dinner and just like stare quietly at our queso. But there's not really that sort of like magic that you get from performance in that aspect, because it is your job. But the little pockets of magic that you find along the way, like just like having a really good discussion with someone, or like going on a mini adventure somewhere really strange with some other performers, and like realizing that you're seeing more of the world in odd ways than anybody else would. My number one example is I've discovered in this past year that I am obsessed with disappointing roadside attractions. I think they're some of the funniest things in the entire world. So some of the most like in touch with the vagabond lifestyle I've felt is when I've stopped by Vazhenge in Zanesville, Ohio, which isn't even marked on a map. It was just like in Atlas Obscura, and it's a bunch of like kind of chipped vases in the middle of a field next to like an outbuilding, and I got there, like I turned off the highway to go visit it and laughed so hard. Or there was this dragon, I think in Kansas, that's supposed to spit fire, and me and Asia and Mark put our little token in, and it was just pure like gas with no flame. And we laughed. And like finding the magic in these moments, which you don't expect to be fantastical or romantic, but afterwards when you remember them, you're like, no, that was so fun and magical. I love those things.
I hate when I have to answer these questions first, because then you two go and you're like so much more eloquent. And then I'm like, oh yeah, that part. Oh yeah, and that part too. Oh, I just done with that. So just assume that whatever they say, it goes for me also.
Them too. Me too.
Yeah.
I saw
also
the biggest pencil in Missouri.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not that kind. But
have you been to Uranus, Missouri?
No.
Is it pronounced that, or is it pronounced Uranus?
No, it's most definitely Uranus because of all the jokes. This place, it's kind of like south of the border-esque for anyone who's been there. Like
south
very
of the
cheesy,
border,
super duper cheesy, and it's this weird like fake ranch town. And the whole joke is the name of the town. And so like you go into the general store, and they're really good at making fudge because they say that the best fudge comes from Uranus. And then there's also like a billiards hall. And there's like this big sign on the billiards hall that said that they're missing 2 balls. And they're like 2 balls missing in Uranus. And then it's so fun. And like, I'm just like laughing because I love puns. But I heard about Uranus, Missouri outside of like having visited it, because there was a contest for the county or something to come up with a new name for the county newspaper. And I can't remember the exact name. I think it was something like the Uranus Observer that ended up winning. And whoever was in charge of the county just like made an announcement. He's like, you are making a laughingstock of this county. You have been making us a laughingstock for too long. You are not going to do it to our like esteemed press. But it's a kooky place.
That's one way to keep a newspaper alive. Let's be real here.
Mm-hmm.
People would buy that paper just to have it instead of, whatever they actually land on,
Yep.
The Gazette, right? Like, what are you going to do? Nobody wants that.
Oh, I know that this isn't one of the questions from Facebook, but I am curious, is there a spot, like not a Ren Fair specific spot, but like a geographical location that you look forward to going to each year when you go to a specific festival?
Oh, I really like Yellow Springs in Ohio. There's a place there we all get together and go to brunch, and I really like it. And then I get to be in Ohio during the fall typically. And as a Floridian, fall is just a novelty on like a baseline level, right? Like that's not something I know exists until I was well into my 20s. So I really enjoy getting to experience not humidity. Yeah.
There's this, not that there's a theme, but there's this little Mexican place near the Maryland Fair that's so good.
Ooh.
So then I forget about it sometimes, and then I remember, and then I'm like, oh yeah, every Sunday night we go to Mexicans.
Mm-hmm. Mexican food is definitely a theme in the off
Mexican food and sushi, but I don't eat fish, so.
Oh, there you go.
So it's just Mexican for me.
Mm-hmm.
Mine is the Penny Arcade in Manitou Springs, Colorado. That is one of my favorite places. I play pinball, specifically the Lord of the Rings pinball machine. I can spend a good 3 hours just solidly in front of that. I'm a little scared to go back this time because you already feel gross when you go to the Penny Arcade and touch all the things. So I'm like, will I want to go this year? But I do love that place.
Mm-hmm.
You can always
mask on and go in. Yeah.
Check gloves.
You can wear gloves. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, honestly, I would have rather worn gloves there last year. Or not last year, in 2019, right? It's gross, right? This place is disgusting on a good day.
But it's so fun.
We'll take Nicole there this year.
Yay!
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Moving on with our questions. We're almost done here. We're almost done. From the audience.
Next question, very intriguing. Boxers or briefs?
Boxers.
My little golden bloomers that I wear underneath my skirt.
Aww.
Classy.
Boxer briefs.
Nicole.
What if it's neither? What if the answer is neither? I gotta live my own life, you guys.
Legit. It'd be historically accurate if the answer was neither.
It would be.
That's true. They did not wear underwears.
Nope.
So when you see those boos with bloomers, not period accurate.
Alrighty. And our last question for the episode here. What are you most looking forward to in person?
Nicole, is yours the same as mine?
Yes.
I get to meet Nicole for the first time ever in person at Colorado.
Face to face. Yes. My is the same as Olivia's, that Olivia gets to meet me for the first time in Colorado in person.
And I'll be able to tell all of you at home whether or not she is a real human being or not.
I have forms you're going to have to sign before we meet.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Mm-hmm. I had to sign those for Victoria because of like when I found out how her programming works and where her wind-up key goes, she made me sign all that stuff as well.
She didn't make me sign it. She forgot. I don't think they were done from the lawyer yet when I met Victoria, so I didn't sign them.
My NDA wasn't finished.
It wasn't finished. Gotta plan ahead.
Oh, no. All righty. Well, friends, if you've got more questions that you'd like to have us.
Wait, what do you
Yeah, you didn't answer it.
Getting to see you two meet each other in person. And then going for Mexican. Let's be real here.
Oh my God, yeah.
Mexican in Colorado. Like we're gonna go. It'll be great. Sorry that y'all can't join us, but we're gonna have a good time. Go out to your own Mexican restaurant and support your local industries, and we will be there with you in spirit, friends.
Yeah, it's like we're out to Mexican together, but in separate places.
Thank you so much for joining us here, Ren Fair friends. Remember to follow the Digital Ren Fair online for more Ren Talks content. We also have a website. It is ren-talks.com, and that is where you can find all of our links and information for the previous episodes, as well as the upcoming episodes for this new season. Once again, my name is Victoria Van Arnam, and I perform as the Lady Victoria.
My name is Olivia Harding, and I perform with Music the Gathering.
And my name is Nicole Skelly, and I am the Gwendolyn Show.
Thank you all for watching. Have a great day.
Eat some Mexican.
Ladies.
Eat some Mexican.
Yay!
Happy queso.
I biffed it, guys.